from each happily ever after, every wish upon a star. Let's break down the movies that shaped who we are, from memory lane to now and everything in between. The most famous of films to the ones we've never seen. Decade by decade, all the times we laughed and cried, and with a little pixie dust, they will all take flight, reliving the feelings, and we're trying our very best. And if they mean the same to you, please be our guest. So hop aboard, we would love to have you as we hang with a certain mouth, the whole gang too. If you love nostalgia stuff, we hope this does the trick. Thanks for joining us as we deep dive the magic.
Hi, and welcome back to the Deep Diving the Magic podcast. I'm KJ.
And I'm Jeffrey. And we are back today with the 91st Disney feature-length film, a film from December the 20th, 1968. It is a film called The Horse in the Gray Flannel Suit, a film that I have heard a lot about growing up, but I'm not sure if I ever saw. But the Horse in the Gray Flannel Suit, besides being the final film of the year 1968, and of course our 91st deep dive, it is based on the 1965 book The Year of the Horse by Eric Hatch, and it is the return of some familiar faces, some new faces too, but it is a return of some familiar faces. Our friend Dean Jones, who's been in a bunch of films lately, and the adorable young actor Kurt Russell. I wonder what would happen to him in the future, but yeah. So we'll turn it over to you for maybe a quick synopsis about the last film of the year 1968, The Horse in the Gray Flannel Suit.
Sure. All right. So Frederick Bolton has to solve two problems. First, he needs to come up with a new campaign to promote a product in 24 hours. The second problem is that his daughter, Helen's her name. Her biggest wish is to own her own horse, but this is a dream her father cannot afford at all.
Yeah, and Fred. His
name's Fred in the movie.
Yeah, Fred is played by Dean Jones.
They just call him Fred.
Yeah. So would you like to kick us off with a deep dive?
Sure. So, do you want me to do trivia now, or just some trivia?
Yeah, we'll do trivia at the end,
or like work it in.
Yeah, that works too.
Okay. So, did we talk about it being paired as a featurette?
No, I saw that actually, that it was paired with something probably much better than this. But go ahead.
Yeah. So the film was originally paired with the featurette Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day in its original theatrical release, but it failed at the box office, and it was mostly negative reviews for its predictable script.
Well, don't give it away yet, but yeah.
Anyway, so obviously this movie is going to be about horses.
I'm sorry to derail you. What if that trivia fact was actually because the Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day actually had a predictable script and not this?
Well, I mean, it does.
They both kind of do. Sorry,
seem like it would have a very predictable script. Yeah. All right. So anyway, this movie is about horses.
What gave it away?
And the title for one. And the horse that's going to go by the name Aspercell in this movie had two stand-ins, Sir Winston and Could Be.
Could Be?
Could Be.
Yo, remember that dude the other day whose name was Slim Pickens?
Yeah, could you imagine? Could be your name. Anyway, I thought that was funny. Also, a quick little tidbit here. So the family dog in the movie is named Herbie.
That's coming as some foreshadowing. I wrote that down later.
Yeah, and Dean Jones went on to star in several of Disney's Love Bug movies, which featured a car named Herbie.
Which happens, I'll say it later,
to be coming up in the future.
To be the next film that we're deep diving, but yeah.
Yeah, and the main horse, Alvarado, actually won a Patsy Award for this film.
There you go.
So, anyway.
Wasn't too predictable after all then, huh?
I guess not. Anyway, so um, Fred works for a advertising agency called Madison Avenue, and he is the advertising executive. And this place is located in Connecticut. He is a widower who we gather is starting to live beyond his means. And then we see that like he has these bills coming into his office and he's telling his secretary what to do with them. And then he has to also walk into a meeting and
Guys early.
yeah. So his coworkers have
They're doing all the hard work. For this dude being stressed out, all his coworkers are doing all the hard work.
yeah, his coworker had made some sort of like 3D model of the product that they were going to go into this meeting about for a new advertisement. And it was called Aspercell, which was a medication that I'm assuming was like an antacid or something that was supposed to help with sour stomachs. So this guy made this model of a mannequin that you could see through its stomach and it would, I don't know, there was like all sorts of like stormy looking stuff going on inside the stomach to like, I guess, show like a sour stomach. And then they had this large bottle of Aspercell and they put one in its mouth and then you could watch the tablet go down through and then all of a sudden like fix everything. Anyway, the chairman
How long
of,
did it take him to make that?
I don't know, he said he did it all on his own time.
That's all right.
He did it on his lunch breaks,
And
at night, coffee breaks.
Mhm.
Just
But Fred's not stoked about this.
yeah, he's like, well, I mean, I guess bring it because that's kind of all we've got, which kind of makes me wonder, what were you doing?
I mean, they had other stuff too. They had like all those pictures and all those
I
marketing
guess I
stuff.
thought I thought that was like old marketing things though from when they done it in the past because they've worked with this company before.
Mhm.
Anyway, so it kind of flops. Like this guy's not.
Well, this executive is not having it.
Yeah, he's like,
he
this
wants like
this
a
is not
new.
what I want.
He wants like a new, like hip,
Yeah,
bougie
I'm
kind
getting
of
there.
advertising.
So anyway, he's told by the client, who is Allied Drug and Foods over-the-counter indigestion medication Aspercell. It's who they're pitching this idea to, and the guy's just like not liking any of the ideas. And he's like, I want something jet set. I want something new, something that gives sour stomachs class and dignity. And you have 24 hours. And then he leaves. So, unfortunately, our dear Fred only has 24 hours to figure this out. The other problem, like we mentioned, is Fred's daughter, Helen, really likes horses. She's been doing riding classes. She wants her own horse. So
one of the bills was for
yeah, her riding lessons, and it was like $900.
Yep.
So she is talking with her friends about wanting her own horse, and she's trying to talk to the riding coach about like, I don't really know how to approach my dad about this, but like I really want my own horse. And then the girls are trying to tell her that she should do the perfect father method, which was you greet him, I think they said with flowers and
alcohol.
and ask him, yeah, and ask him how his day at work was, but then he's not going to want to talk about work and he's going to want to ask you about something. And that's when you pitch the idea about the horse. I was like, okay, I don't think that would work. But anyway, Helen tells them that's not going to work for her dad because they just know each other too well. So she's trying to ask him this. And her Aunt Martha is also trying to help her talk to her dad about it. And then finally, she just is like, well, I would really like my own horse. My riding coach tells me.
Whose name is Susie, by the way.
Yeah, and she gets called SJ. That I really want my own horse. She says it'll build my confidence and that I can win ribbons and all this stuff. And then Aunt Martha's like, yeah, she's like the best in her class. And then he's like, okay, well, how much does a horse cost? Like $100, $200, three, four. And Aunt Martha's like, well, a good one's going to cost like 2000.
I looked it up.
Mm-hmm.
This book came back. This book came out in 1965.
Mm-hmm.
$2,000 in 1965 is $18,000 today.
Mm-hmm.
But then I googled how much a horse costs today,
Mm-hmm.
and it's only $3,000. So where's those other $15,000 going?
That's probably just your regular horse and not like a
I
prize
guess.
show horse, because I would imagine show horses are going to go for way more than that.
Yeah.
Just what they're buying at this point. So anyway, they talk about it. It's going to be $2,000 for a good horse. And then Helen's like, just forget it. She gets upset, tears up, and then runs off. And then, like I said, Martha is explaining to Helen's dad that she really is the best in her class. And he's like, well, I mean, why can't she have boy problems? If it was boy problems, I could help her with this. And then Aunt Martha's like, well, she does have a boy problem. And he's like, well, what is it? And he was like, she basically told him that Helen thinks she's homely. And he's like, homely? She's not homely. And I thought that was so funny. So anyway, Fred is left by himself in the den. He tells everybody goodnight. And he is trying to come up with this new campaign that is going to catch the chairman's eye, and he's going to be like, yeah, this is the one. I'm going to go for it.
He keeps
And
throwing his things to the dog.
Yeah, he can't nail what he's thinking of. So he like all these papers with ideas on it that he's like drafted, he just tosses. The dog chases them. I don't think he was technically trying to give them to the dog.
It's Herbie.
But then he was like, oh, that could work. That could work. So he runs back. He's like, Herbie, give it to me. And then
Because he go ahead. I'll let you finish that thought.
Herbie comes around the corner and gives him the piece of paper, and he like opens it up and sees the horse on it.
Mhm.
And the horse is named Aspercell, which is the product he's trying to sell.
The plot of the movie has started.
Did you have something else for me?
No, what I was gonna say was because he was like trying to like mentally go through everything, and he like drew a horse while he was like talking about what his daughter was going through, and then that's when he had like also written the word Aspercell, so he like crumpled it up, and then he was like, oh, well, that could work. So like his two thoughts like ran together on the page. Yeah.
So anyway, Fred goes to pitch this idea to the chairman. It's been 24 hours, so he is in the gym, following this guy around the gym.
He's a good gym buddy.
Yeah. He is in his suit and tie business suit,
All business.
all together, following the chairman around, who's like in sweats and stuff, like doing whatever he's doing in the gym. And he is pitching this idea. And basically, the chairman falls in love with this idea and tells Fred that you need to buy the best horse, but make sure you register it under your daughter's name. And you should also tell your boss that he should make you the vice president, as I don't like to do business with small fries.
Me neither.
Okay. So then he enlists the riding coach, which is Susie, but he insistently calls her SJ, to help him pick out the best horse. And she does. And it costs $5,000. And he's like, well, I hope this is a good horse. And she's like, it is. It's a doubled champion.
Double champion. 5,000. So that's like $4,500 or $45,000 today.
Yeah. So anyway, then they're talking about, well, this horse is like got its own 9-horse trailer, and it is just not happy. And I guess it sounded like it took them a lot of work to get it in the horse trailer. And they're like, well, we got it in. You can get it out. I'm like, we're done now. And they go to get the horse out. And he's like, no, 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 I can do it. I can do it. And I'm just like, this guy knows nothing about horses. Why would he just offer himself up like this? Because his daughter offers to do it. Susie offers to do it. He's like, no, 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 I can do it. And then the horse starts drinking his beer.
Slits.
Yeah. And then he drinks it out of his palm. And that's when Susie tells Helen, no, 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 it's okay. It can have a palmful for medicinal purposes.
It's true.
I was like, okay.
What if it was like a big palm? What if it was like Andre the Giant's palm?
I mean,
would that be too much?
I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so he is able to get him out of the horse trailer, but Fred can't get the new fence open. So they have a horse fence at their house now that's all ready for this horse, but he can't get the fence open because it's stuck. The horse just goes and jumps right over the fence to his new enclosure. And I felt like that should show him you might have a problem keeping this horse on your property. If it can jump the fence that you've built for it, what's keeping it there?
Oh no, the other side is impossible. You can only jump a fence one way.
Okay, sure. All right. So anyway, the next scene goes over to the horse show. So they are at their first horse show with Asperger. I was gonna say aspartame. Aspercell.
More or less.
And Helen. And they just pull up. They're getting everything set up. Dad has a built-in bar built into the side of Aspercell's horse trailer.
Yeah, food. It's got everything you need. He
is all like, wait. We got to get this stuff set up first. And she's like, well, I got to get the horse out. And he's like, well, just wait. But then they hear over the intercom that her event has been rescheduled, making her up next. The horse is not out. She's not ready. Nothing's ready. And then there's like lots of stress trying to make this happen in time. And Fred still knows nothing about horses.
Mm-hmm.
So he tells her, go run and get your number. After he tries to put the horse saddle on backwards, he gets it fixed. She's like, I don't even have my number yet. And he's like, go get your number. I'll do this. He can't figure out how to get the bridle on. He is struggling. Then this boy, played by Kurt Russell, named Ronnie, comes to save the day. He's like, here. And he's like, well, I mean, this could be complicated. And he's like, oh, it is until you get used to it. And he put it on. He's like, oh, hand me the da-da-da, whatever it is. And he is like, okay. And he, well, how did you learn how to do this? Oh, I have to come to these because this is what gets me a sports car. My parents will pay for my sports car if I take my younger sister to all of her horse shows so they don't have to.
Daughter in horse shows, son with a paid sports car. That family's got money.
Yeah. Anyway, so he helps them all get ready. And then Helen runs back. She's got her number. She hops on the back of the horse, and then her dad's like, what do I do? Where does the number go? And then he sees another rider go by and realizes the number goes on the back of his daughter's jacket. Yeah. So he puts it on there and he goes, okay, you're ready, go. So she goes out there. He thinks she's doing great work in the show, and it looks like she's doing great. And if you don't know what you're talking about in this, you probably think she's doing great. And then we find out at the end, Helen and another rider get excused. He doesn't understand what this means. And he asks Ronnie, because Ronnie was sitting near them, and Ronnie has to explain to him, well, she did well, but this is actually what that means. And he said, basically, it's what they call a push button ride. And she second guessed herself, and the horse at that point just went through the motions and did it for her. Mm-hmm. So basically the horse was leading her, not her leading the horse. So he's like, well, okay. And then he gets up to go find the riding coach because he wants to talk about what happened. And Susie basically tells Fred, like, are you one of those parents that your kid has to win everything? And he was like, well, no. And he's like, but I mean, if we don't win 3 medals, we can't go to Washington. She's like, oh, you're the worst kind of parent. Um, and it's like, are you kidding me? And then he's like, well, what about if we did like one-on-one coaching? Because it's like there's more to this than that. And then she shakes on it like she's going to do this one-on-one coaching because he's like, what do we have to do to make her a winner? Which I was like, well, how did he just change her mind so quickly? But whatever.
Dash of good looks.
Yeah. Then I have it in my notes. It would appear that Fred is starting to fall for the writing coach, S.J. Clemens.
Well, as we stated earlier, this is a predictable plot. This is a Disney movie from the 60s.
All right. So Helen does a lot of this one-on-one training. She finally wins her first medal. And after she wins it, Fred kisses Susie after saying, 2 more, then on to Washington. He just likes to kiss women without their permission. And I was waiting on you to say that, but
no, I didn't say.
Yeah. Anyway, and then after all
At least
this,
this one was of age.
Ronnie finds Susie and she's like over there with her horse, and he's like, "You seem really tense. All this like horse show stuff. Like you really need to take a break." And she's like, "I don't really have time. Like I need to like practice." And he's trying to talk her into like, we'll make time, da da da. What about if we do this? What about if we do that? And then she's like, well, I really need to practice. And he's like, okay, well, then he negotiates with her for Saturday. He's like, Saturday, I'll take you out on a date. And she was like, okay, Saturday. And then he goes off and she's like still with her horse, but she steps inside. I believe it was like the horse trailer to get something.
Mhm.
I don't know. And Mr. Dugan, the chairman, shows up at the race and he tells Fred that they're not doing as well as he expected they would, and that he really thinks that he cooked up this idea so that his daughter could get a free horse. And then,
shocking.
yeah, and then Fred tells him he would put everything on this horse and his daughter, all the while his daughter overhears everything.
Mhm.
And basically, he's like, the chairman tells him, well, everything is riding on this, your job, like everything. And I mean, you'd think that's going to put a lot of pressure on a kid.
Mhm.
But Mr. Dugan does witness Helen and Aspercell win their event, thus making it her second medal.
Mhm.
However, by inference, we find out that they did not win at their next show. Fred is upset. He ends up chasing Aspercell as he's trying to run away from his home. Lots of hijinks pursue. And then they finally just make peace with each other. And then he's like, well, we're a long way from home. You wouldn't give a buddy a ride, would you? And it's quite hilarious watching him try to get on this horse. He has no idea what he's doing.
I mean, I would be the same way.
Yeah. So anyway,
I don't have this dashing good looks.
He supposedly was supposed to be out of town in Chicago. And Helen arrives home with Martha, and they think that the horse has been stolen because the horse is not home. And then Fred gets chased by the police because they've called the police reporting the horse stolen, what it looks like. The police find some guy on a horse that matches the description, and they start chasing him. Poor Fred. All of a sudden, he's doing jumping lessons, and he's never ridden a horse in his life. And he's being chased by the police while doing it. And then the police are telling him, stop. And he's like, I'm trying to. And Aspercell jumps over a 7-foot brick wall.
7 foot 1 inch or something.
Yeah, 7-foot 1 inch wall to get away from the police. And unfortunately for Fred, he gets booked and for supposedly stealing this horse.
Do you know why the horse could jump over a 7-foot wall? No. Because he had no nerves, because his storms in his stomach were handled because he took Aspercell. That was a good one.
I can't wait for you to pitch that idea.
That's right.
Okay. So anyway, he gets booked. He's in jail for supposedly stealing this horse. It's actually basically his own horse. And then Ronnie shows up because the horse is back home. Ronnie shows back up to get Helen. She's not dressed, and she explains to him, like, Aspercell is actually gone. Like, he just got back. I have to wait on Susie. Susie come and check him out, make sure he's okay. And he's like, "You're going to stand me up." And she's like, "No, I wasn't going to stand you up. A lot's going on, basically." And in the midst of all this, like, frustration, she ends up telling him, like, because he's like, "Is all you ever do is think about horse shows?" And she's like, "I don't even like horse shows. I don't even want to do this. But everything is depending on this, like my dad's job, like everything." And then she, like, runs off and cries. So then, like, Ronnie is upset because of her being upset. So he basically waits around. Fred gets home and he intercepts him, and he basically tells him that Helen hates horse shows and tells him everything. And then that's when Fred realizes she's overheard the conversation with Dugan.
Uh-oh.
And then Fred tells Helen he cares about what's important and she doesn't have to ride in any more shows. And basically at that point tells her, "You need to go on your date with Ronnie." And she's like, "I'm not even dressed." And he's like, "I don't think it matters. Just go." Any thoughts so far?
It's fitting the model perfectly.
Yeah. So basically, he's talking to Susie about this, and they realize he's, like, telling her the story about this horse. And she's like, "I'm sure you'll come up with something to keep him."
Mhm.
And he was like, "Sure, whatever, I'll figure it out." And then she starts thinking about it because he was like, "Yeah, like, we jumped a 7 foot 1 inch wall running from the police." And she was like, "Yeah." And he's like,
No, the police.
"No, really."
Yeah.
He was like, 7 foot 1 inch exactly, because the police measure everything. And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, we jumped that." And that's when she realizes, like, this horse actually might have more potential than we realize. So she volunteers to ride Aspercell in the International Horse Show. So that way they can make their way to Washington. He gets to keep his job. They have the potential to win medals, but she doesn't know. So she is going to enlist the help of this guy that she knows. That just happens to be her ex-fiance that she was one day away from marrying before she broke it off.
Yo, can you imagine getting that call if you were him? Like, "Hey,
Well,
I'm out of here,
I
but
mean,
I need your help, dude."
their future wishes didn't line up. So I mean, it's
Well, she future wishes him to help her win some kind of award.
yeah, but she wished to have a family, and he wished to do nothing but do horse shows, and that was all he was set on
Yeah.
for his life, and that's not what she wanted. So anyway, he comes in, he helps train her with Aspercell, and basically tells her, "I think you've been coaching for too long and not riding enough. Like, you should have been doing this. This is what you were made to do." And then you can kind of see some jealousy from Fred. Like, I don't know. Like, this is not good. So anyway, she does a lot of training, and then we end up at this show in Washington, D.C., because this guy told her, he's like, "No, there's like 1 in 100 spots, but I think you guys stand a chance. Like, if you want to do it, let's do it." And so they trained. She makes it to Washington. And it's in the free jump is her event, and she ends up in a roundabout way winning the championship. And after this event, everybody rushes in. Her ex-fiance and her kiss. She hugs Helen. Yeah, and everybody's like taking pictures. They're so excited that she won, and Fred's just like, "All right, ask for sale. Let's go celebrate with a can of oats." And he just takes
A handful,
yeah,
or whatever they said.
he just takes the
Call 'em.
horse off by himself, like kind of pouting. You kind of feel sorry for him, and then like she finds him, and she's like, "Hey, I was looking for you," and then basically long story short, they get interrupted before he can say anything else, and then Helen's like, "Okay, so when's the wedding?" And he's like, "Oh well, that cuts that short, but why not?" So then they're like, "Oh, let's take a picture as if you guys were a happy family."
Yeah, to jump back a little bit, he does like be like, "Well, you were kissing this dude," and she was like,
That was my way of thanking him.
"Yeah." She's like, "That's how I thank him," which is again, whatever. Take it as you want to take it. And she's like, "No,
Rich people things.
The feeling is mutual." And then like right before they share this like romantic moment, the girl comes in and she's like, "Ooh, perfect."
Oh.
So yeah.
So then they get their picture together. So it's Susie, Helen, Fred, and then Aspercell all get their picture taken as a happy little family. Other little fun tidbits. So the scene in the movie that portrays the horse and the rider's main rival from Chile are inspired by real life quest of the horses, and I'm not even going to try to say that. Who also, I guess, and Chileno to reach the horse jumping world record in 1947. So that was actually like a legit thing. And I thought it was nice because like the guy that she was competing against the entire time, because they always had the highest scores, he was like some kind of lieutenant somewhere. And I'm sorry for our dog, but anyway, he basically kept wishing her luck the entire time. Super nice. Like there was definitely no like ill feelings between them, like, "Oh, I'm going to do better than you," or anything. He's just like, "Good luck, senorita. You're going to do great." And then she was also the same, like, "Good luck." So that's kind of cool that was like actually like inspired by like a real life competition. The Washington International Horse Show has been an equestrian tradition since 1958.
So that was 10 years before this film.
Yep. It is the country's leading metropolitan indoor horse show. Each October, more than 500 of the top national and international horses and riders, including Olympic veterans, come together in Washington, D.C. to compete in 6 days of thrilling competition.
Yeah, that's something that bugged me about this. Was that like on like the bill, it was like the Washington Horse Festival, this date through this date, and it was like 5 days. But then like they were like, "Here, you only got 7 days to do this," or whatever. And I was like, those dates did not match up whatsoever.
6 days.
Whatever it was, yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think that was all the really interesting facts that I thought were like enough to include. It was a cute movie. I had never heard of it.
The name is based off of a book.
Yeah, like, I had never heard of it. And like then I thought they might reference something like how it got the name, but they never really talked about it.
No, like the name of the movie is based. It is like a pun, like a play on words of like a book of like how to succeed in business. Like there's like a book that's like the man in the gray flannel suit or whatever, and they just like it has nothing to do with this. They just like took the name and made it into a thing because it had like a.
Well, in the beginning there was like when it was opening up, it had like a like 3 people. Yeah, underneath like a sheet that kind of looked like a horse, so I thought maybe that's what it was.
No, here I'll find the exact verbatim. Give me 1 second.
Anyway, so IMDb rated this a 6.3 out of 10.
Yep.
And I was like, okay. So I didn't really go in it with high hopes, but I actually thought it was interesting. It did hold my attention. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
There you go.
Which broke my 5 streak.
That's right.
In case you guys were following along.
The film's title is a humorous reference to the horse's color and the title of a 1955 whatever novel by Sloan Wilson about the American search for purpose in a world dominated by business called The Man in the Gray Flannel Suit. So it's just like a play on words for a different book.
All right. Well, anyway, I didn't think it was as bad as some of the other things that we've watched. It held my attention. I enjoyed it.
You like horses?
I like horses. I make us watch that every year at the Big E.
Would you pay $18,000 for a horse?
Where are we going to put it, Jeff?
We don't have enough room.
You won't even let me get another dog.
We don't have enough room.
We have plenty of room for another dog. Anyway.
Not for getting the horse.
So this did not meddle its way onto my list. So my list upon a star is still the same.
Mm-hmm.
So it is 101 Dalmatians, Parent Trap, Sleeping Beauty, Dumbo, The Jungle Book, Lady and the Tramp, That Darn Cat, The Three Caballeros, Moon Pilot, and The Shaggy Dog.
That's right. And through the year 1968.
Did you pin a ribbon to it on your list?
No, it only received 2 out of the 3 awards. So no. But
just shy of making your list, huh?
Yeah, just shy. 1968, we've come to a conclusion there. But so my list upon a star is 101 Dalmatians, Mary Poppins, Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, Babes in Toyland, Pinocchio, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Sleeping Beauty, and The Jungle Book. So this was a fun film. I think we're gonna hit like a stretch of fun films coming up. Well, maybe let's hope.
Let's hope.
But again, you can. We're on Instagram. We're on Spotify. You can hear my lovely pipes. We are on YouTube, where you can see my dashing good looks, like Dean, whatever this dude's name is.
They can also look at your face on Spotify.
It's true. Dean Jones, sorry, our dashing good looks. And you can email us at deepdiveinthemagicpod@gmail.com. But we are moving over into the year 1969, the final year of the 1960s, the year of love, they say, 1969. With the year of love, that's actually pretty funny. It's a perfect reference here. For film number 92, a film that we kind of referenced a little bit earlier, that kind of started a whole franchise, with The Love Bug. So we will be back next time with The Love Bug.
Thanks for deep diving the magic.
Bye.
Bye.